to be back. I feel like every time I come on, I'm like, I'm back, because I go like a week or two without posting. But I said I would post as long as I wasn't sick, and I've definitely had a little recovering to do over the past few weeks. I've had my reconstruction surgery, which went awesome, and I will do another video on that. And I also landed myself back into the hospital like right when I was getting ready to go back to work, so there was that. I've just been really tired, so I've had a tough time getting the videos going, but I am making an effort instead of lowering the commitment to stick to my commitment and just find ways, different ways to work it into my schedule. Today, however, is different because I'm supposed to post on Sundays. I usually post on Sundays. Today is actually Saturday, but I could not let this day go by without recognizing it. I haven't really decided if I will be celebrating this day as much as I think it's just important for me to recognize. I think I will be celebrating my last day of radiation, which was the last day of active treatment. But a year ago today, December 30th, 2017, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And the hard part about it was that because they rushed to my results, all they could really tell me was that I had cancer, and I had a couple weeks to really sit on that. Looking back, I just remember going into the office, and my mom and my husband and I were all there, and we were making jokes, and we're like, this is cool. Primarily because my mom kept telling me that she didn't believe that it was cancer, and that I shouldn't be negative. But I will tell you guys that that Wednesday, I'm pretty sure it must have been a Friday, that I was diagnosed. That Wednesday or so, I woke up with "It Is Well" on my heart, and I just started singing it, and I felt it. And since then, it has been God's way of communicating to me that I'm getting ready to encounter a mountain, but that I will overcome the mountain. I had the same urge to sing the song, and my spirit woke up with it. Not that long before I landed myself into the hospital for a couple of weeks, and so it's just God's thing, the way God communicates with me now, I guess. And I remember that I woke up like that a couple days before we got the results of that biopsy, waking up and I'm like, it is well. And I knew in my heart that it was cancer, even though my mom was telling me like I had to be positive, so I didn't want to say anything, but I just knew that it was cancer. But then I also had to know that it would be okay, and it was very scary. I remember when the doctor first came in, she put her hand on my leg, and she just said that, you know, they did find some cancerous cells, and she was talking, and then I feel like I just left the room, basically. I literally looked around the room to see who she was talking to. Like, I said, what? And I looked around, and she was still talking to me. And my husband was in shock, and my mom just had this look of disgust on her face. And I think part of it was because she believed so strongly that it wasn't cancer. She was probably just disappointed with God, maybe a little angry with God. And it was just really tough. That was a tough day. I've never had as many soul cries as I had this year. I mean like the deep, heavy, hyperventilating cries. That was one of those days. And then I just remember them trying to make my mother sit down because they were scared she was going to pass out. And then my mom just held me, and my husband sat there in shock. And I just remember crying out loudly. Every time I think about it, I was like, I was feeling loudly like I told her something was wrong, because I was really frustrated with the fact that I had told a doctor months before we got to this point, that something was wrong. I didn't feel like she had done everything that she could have done to catch the cancer. And so I think I just felt really hurt. I felt totally hurt. Looking back on where I was a year ago, I am just thankful, and I am grateful, and I am determined to make the most of my life, because I understand that tomorrow is never promised. And so I want to make sure when I die that I leave a legacy behind that's worth sharing. And that's what I'm determined to do. And I'm trying to focus more on living than on dying, even though I understand that there are so many women dying from stage 4 breast cancer. Some of the sweetest, kindest, women you could ever meet dying from stage 4 breast cancer, women that beat breast cancer once and it came back stage 4. Like, it's a new world to be immersed in, and I try really hard, really hard not to spend too much time focusing on that possibility for myself. I want to make sure that the time that I have between now and then is lived to the absolute fullest. As they say, live the dash. So today, really quickly, I want to share with you guys the 3 biggest lessons I've had from 2017. And I could probably do a whole blog on like 10 things, and I might do that. I don't know. But I definitely have 3 things that I want to share with you guys. But before we get started, here's a quick update. As you can see, my blog name has changed. My blog name has changed, my Facebook name changed, my YouTube name changed, and I'm now The Adventures of Brave Beauty. Primarily because I felt like Black Girl Brave, at least personally for me, was tied so closely rather to my cancer journey. And I'm just moving more into a life after cancer phase, and I wanted to make sure that the name of my blog and my online presence is encompasses the rest of my life, all the amazing things that I'm trying to do, that I am doing. And so yeah, that's it. You can follow me on Instagram still at Brave Beauty 26. You can also follow me on Facebook at Brave Beauty Adventures. The blog name has changed. blackgirlbrave.com will forward you to the new blog, but the blog URL is now bravebeautyadventures.com as well. And that's it for the updates. Everything else can come in another video. So let's go ahead and get started. Number 3, soul food is necessary. I realized very soon after my diagnosis, as soon as I got my diagnosis, that this was going to be a lot for me to handle. Not just for me, but for my marriage, not just for my marriage, for my friends, not just for my friends, for my family, and my job and my coworkers. And this was going to be a really tough process, interesting process, and I did not want to collapse under pressure. I did not want to fall into a depression. I've been depressed before. I know that's a really tough place to pull yourself out of. And I go to a meetup, and I'll tell you guys about that later. But I go to a meetup, and one of the phrases that someone said was, it's not so much about being consistently positive or consistently focusing on the right things. It's about being intentionally resilient. And I was like, wow. That is a beautiful phrase, intentionally resilient, and I believe that's absolutely what I was. It was just this mentality that I do not want to be depressed. I will not let myself get depressed. And the only way that I could not let myself or would not let myself get depressed is if I nourished my soul with soul food. I read amazing books. I went to therapy. I talked to people. I listened to motivational podcasts daily. I just really put in a lot of effort to be conscious of myself and my thoughts and how I was feeling, and communicating those things to other people and not just sitting in those feelings. And when I went through periods where I would stop reading daily or I wasn't listening to my podcast daily, I would feel the difference. I would feel the stress. I would feel the different energy. It was harder for me to keep up. It was harder for me to stay focused. And so I absolutely understand now how important it is to feed your soul good things, good music, positive thoughts. One of the things my therapist says, and I'm really open about therapy, it's the best thing I could have ever done. But one of the things my therapist says is that you have to put good things in so that when you're in need, you can pull them out. And that's absolutely what I've been doing this year. I've been working really hard on putting good things into my soul so that when I need them, I can pull them out. So that is number 3. Soul food is necessary. Number 2, I am enough. Now, I go to a meetup. I reconnected with someone from middle school, and he was posting, I think I mentioned this already, like I go to the meetup and he was posting some stuff that I was really interested in, and I started going to the meetups, and it's like one of the highlights of my week, being able to spend some time with some incredible people, and they are all God-fearing people, and they all have incredible visions, and just looking to live life better. And the name of the group is I Was Never Enough Until. And until today, I don't think I could ever really finish the phrase. I was like, what is my until? But I was never enough until I was reminded whose child I am. And back to point 3, one of the first books I read at the beginning of this journey was A Course in Miracles and A Course in Miracles Made Easy. And while I didn't agree with all the ideology, there were some really big things that I picked up from that book, and I'm so glad I read it, and I'll probably read it again just because like every day I just felt like it was renewing my faith. It gave me a God that I could trust. It gave me a God that I could love, because I felt like growing up at some point the emphasis was so heavy on a God to be feared and a God that punished that I was trying to buy God's love. And I realized after reading that book and I'm just applying that to my faith and applying that to my life that I am enough. I was born enough. I am smart enough. I'm talented enough. So my therapist likes to say when God provides vision, he provides provision. And I was listening to something the other day and they said just the fact that you've had the thought or the idea to do something means that God will give you whatever you need to bring that vision to fruition. And so I constantly remind myself of that. I am enough. I can get started. There's nothing that I can't do. And when I start to let fear creep in or when I start to feel discouraged, I just remind myself of that. And that goes back to point 3, again, of making sure that you feed your soul good things. So that's it. Number 2, I am enough. And my last point, my biggest point, the most beautiful point of all is God is able. Now, I have been a woman of faith for many years, but I will say it was a few years ago that I really just started to question, like I said, the God that I'm not blaming it on anybody. It's just how my vision of God was distorted at some point as a child. This idea that I had to buy my love and I had to act my way into heaven, and God was someone to be feared, and really left out the part about the loving God, and it left out the part about the God who will provide all your strength, and it left out the part about the God that will provide. And so as I look back today on the year that I've had, I am absolutely reminded that God is able. He is able to provide. He is able to give mercy. He's able to heal. He's able to provide peace. And that to me is like the biggest, I think, highlight of this whole year is just the new relationship that I've developed with God, and then the way that I've grown in my faith as a woman. I was actually writing blogs months before I actually released those blogs or shared those blogs with other people. Someone from the youth group that I used to go to gave me the idea in terms of making sure that I remember the miraculous things that happen in my life. And if you're looking for some miracles or some proof that God is real, or that he will provide, or that he will make a way where it feels like there's no way, you can check out my blog. And especially the time where we were doing fertility treatment, how we paid for that, how we were able to get the treatment on time, like those are nothing short of miracles. And back to point 3, it all starts with soul food, I'm sorry. Back to point 3. One of the things I learned in A Course in Miracles is the concept that miracles are a change in perception. And so when I say that God can heal, and when I say that God can give you peace, it's not always taking away the affliction as much as it can be giving you the strength and the peace that you need to get through the affliction, or the acceptance to get through the affliction, or to get through whatever next phase you need to get through. And so I just want to reinforce that idea that God is able. He can, he has, he will. Well, that's it, guys. Those are my top 3 lessons from 2017. I am so looking forward to 2018. I am looking forward to slaying 2018. Like, I'm ready to kill it. I'm ready to overcome, ready to conquer. I'm ready to love more, do more, be more, explore more, expand more. Like, I'm just super excited because I am reminded, like I said, of whose child I am. There's nothing I can't do. There's nothing I won't be given the strength to overcome. Nothing I can't conquer. And I'm ready. And I hope you guys are ready too, because it's going to be an awesome ride. I am going to be back here next week, Lord willing, with another video. And I look forward to talking to you guys soon. Until next time, I'll see you later.